What is going on, guys? This is Coach Ty, and I'm with Coach Lori, and today is going to be episode 2 of Keeping It Real with TNL. So today we're going to be talking about overcoming health struggles, and what I like about this episode is that we didn't have to look far to find a perfect guest, an individual, to talk about having to overcome some serious health struggles. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive with your own Coach Lori about all that she's had to overcome to reach this current point in her health journey. But before we dive into that, we got a couple of announcements to make. Number one, to our CrossFit San Ramon members, all of you guys should have received an email regarding the goal sheet. It's 2025 and we got like one response. Guys, we should always have a goal or something that we're working towards. Please take a look at the emails, fill out the goal sheets, let a coach speak with you and try to help you get to where you want to be. That's why we're here. So we could give you guys what you need to reach that next level. Now, the other announcement we have for those of you who missed out last night, we had an amazing nutrition clinic right here in the gym. Great turnout. Other thing I liked about it, it wasn't just talking about macros and carbs and proteins. We were talking about things that you could do to improve your performance as a CrossFit athlete. A lot of you guys are wondering, hey, why are my abs starting to show yet? Why haven't I had a PR in 3 years? Well, a lot of people don't realize that you cannot outrun a bad diet. And just because you do CrossFit does not mean you could go to In and Out afterwards every single time. That's not how it works. So for those who missed out, we hopefully next one that we have, you guys will be in attendance. There was a lot of great information given. So other than that, we're going to be diving in right now with Coach Lori. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. No, I'm excited.
That's what I want to hear.
A lot to relive, but it helps people hearing this, I think. So
absolutely,
that's the goal.
And that's the biggest thing here is that you are willing to tell your story. So in case someone else out there is struggling, they could be like, wow, this isn't some movie. This is a real individual who managed to overcome this and reach this current point in her journey. So
yeah.
let's kind of dive in from the start. So I had already spoke with you, so I know a little bit of the history, but we're going to start with the early years. And so I remember one time when you mentioned to me, growing up, you grew up eating Italian food, Filipino food, fast food, carb loading without knowing. And so basically during that time, what role did food and food culture and habits play in shaping your early relationship with nutrition?
It's a big one. So Italian food, I'm Italian. And ironically enough, my mom and grandma can't cook to save their lives, but my great grandma cooked enough for 80 people for 20 in attendance. And food was always a big deal, right? It was a gathering, it was tied to emotions. Filipino food, my Uncle Danny's from the Philippines, homemade food all the time. So it wouldn't be uncommon to have Christmas with homemade lasagna and lumpia.
What?
We were snacking.
I love
And then my cousins and I swear, I think my totem animal is the Keebler elf because I could cookies. Like we ate so much, and it's interesting. Like you're like 10, 11, and you're still kind of. I was a small kid actually. I was kind of slight. I was not a heavy child. Until my mom got bladder cancer. And then fast food became a staple because my grandma came to help and she didn't cook. So then I was just like emotionally eating, and then girls' periods start and a hormone. And then I went from like this cute little slight thing eating Keebler Elf cookies all day to like fucking Grimace from McDonald's. Like, I don't know. It happened really fast. So it built a horrible foundation because I never understood that your staple shouldn't be pasta, bread, cheese, cookies, lumpia, Big Macs. That was just it was a horrible series of unfortunate events. So that's where I was from about 10 till maybe my eating disorder in junior high. It was a long road. So
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. Well, speaking of, that's going to bring us right into question number 2. We're going to just kind of dive into some of the health struggles that you faced in your teenage years.
Yeah.
So to kind of dive in first, so you were telling us now that some of your first health challenges began at the age of 10, or when you started going through some of these issues, and then we're going to dive into some allergies that and some of the weight issues that have followed, and some of the emotional eating during the teenage years. So I don't want to talk anymore. I'm going to let you dive in and start when wherever you feel comfortable.
Right. So when I talk about like food like makes you healthy or takes away your health, I'm not kidding. So by 11 and a half, um, I was so just overweight and sick. I was on all the different allergy medicines. I had seasonal allergies year round. They put me on birth control because my periods were so bad I'd vomit and miss school. Like I was wrecked. And my mom's battling cancer and going through a divorce at the same time. So it was just the Kaiser doctor with their bad advice putting like 11 and a half, 12-year-old on birth control to try to make it so that once a month I wasn't like dying at home and missing school. And I'm sure at that point, my mom was like, please go to school because she's, I have a younger brother. It was a lot. Um, then, right after that, they were like, you have polycystic ovarian syndrome. So, knowing me now, what I know about insulin resistance, you hear me talk about this all the time, like there was such an easy way with just food to turn this all back, but nobody told me anything. Like doctors didn't tell me anything. I told Ty, like writing down some of the ideas of what I had gone through was like super depressing at first because I'm like my entire fucking life I've been battling all these battles by myself, not a doctor, not a family, like no one helping me through these like crazy things. So you're already like super awkward starting junior high, right? Because we had junior high, K through 6, 7, 8, 9 was junior high, 10, 11, 12 was high school. I'm pushing 50. That's what it was like back then. Legit. Right? Now it's like middle school, whatever. It's awkward. It's like middle child awkward of middle school and junior high. And so acne and fat and this and that. And to this day, I'm not even kidding. The things that we carry with us, I never wear sleeveless stuff because I remember getting made fun of by my fat arms. So when Tim and I got married in 2018, that was the first time that I had nice enough arms in my entire life to wear sleeveless stuff, tank tops, and a sleeveless wedding gown. I'm not. This is you can ask Tim. I'm not even making this up. Like these things, like they impact our life on so many levels. Not just health, but mental health and body image and eating disorders and all that. It's crazy. So yeah, that was like pretty much me up into those teenage years. And then what else can I tell you? The PCOS is the biggest thing. The other thing was like, do you want to talk a little bit about like minor eating disorders? Is that uncomfortable for people?
Yeah,
I feel like we should.
I feel like we should. Absolutely.
I feel like we should. So I remember like getting into seventh grade, right? Start of junior high at Antioch Junior High School. And I was like starting to like find my way. Like I started the first environmental clubs called Stop Students Tidying Our Planet, to second place in the state. But because like more people were seeing me, I was even more self-conscious.
Because you were in the spotlight now.
Yeah, it was rough. And I had no one to teach me how to do makeup or anything. It's not like now. It's not like I was like YouTubing and contouring. I was fucking awkward across the board from like way down. I can show you with a picture with the bangs and the layered socks. It was a mess. So slim fast, laxatives, intermittent throwing up,
Whoa.
starving. Like that was seventh grade. And then the shittiest part about that is everyone's like, you look amazing. What are you doing? And then you're reinforcing this eating disorder.
So let's
pull that apart.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
So I don't want to get too far off because this is going to get deep and whatnot. But I just want to start. So obviously, I'm curious, and I don't know if anyone else is, but what was it other than wanting to fit in? Was there anything else that was causing you to pick that option for keeping that weight down? Because that for someone in the seventh grade to be like, this is what I'm willing to do, there has to be a driving force.
Yeah.
And I'm like, obviously, you had mentioned the whole arm thing, but was there other stuff that was taking place to cause
disorders, are, whether it's over or under, always about control at the basis, right? So obviously, with my mom coming back from cancer and the divorce, and then honestly, we had bright yellow PE shorts that were like 70s dude jogging shorts. And so just the sheer humiliation of having to wear that 5 days a week, because believe it or not, we used to have PE 5 days a week. That's how old I am. I feel like I walked uphill both ways in the snow. Yeah, so it was control. Like I didn't know how to go to a gym. I didn't know how to eat right, but I knew that when I didn't eat, that the weight came off. And so that was my little developed brain, like trying to fucking figure something out to get out of this like really awkward middle school, junior high phase of life. So yeah, it comes back to control, I think.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, and that right there is still obviously that's a serious thing because, like you said, it's even worse when you begin to get that positive
Oh my
and
gosh.
enforcement.
And that's like a
People
drug.
complimenting you, people are saying all these things,
Yeah.
and I could see how that's like. Well, clearly, what you're realizing is
Nailed
that
it, right?
this must work.
Yeah.
I am clearly doing what is going to get me the result that I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there was no guidance.
None.
That was a definitely a very deep place to go.
Yeah.
This is getting real.
We're keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Maybe I'll push the envelope today. We'll find out. No, I'm kidding.
Let's do it.
Lori's always pushing the envelope.
So we're gonna move on from. So that was more
Middle school, high school. Yeah.
middle school, high school. What about more of the late years of high school going into college? How did your health change from that point, and then as you got a little bit older?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, when I was in high school, my grandpa had a stroke. He's like my person. And it kind of jolted me awake like, okay, you have to stay healthy to take care of your grandpa, which is wild because here I am, like in 10th or 11th grade, getting out of like this mindset of not eating and horrible eating disorder mentality just to care for my grandpa who was in San Leandro. But by then I'm working, I have a car, I can get back and forth from Antioch to San Leandro. So that whipped me back into shape. Um, right after high school was good. I went on that rafting trip and flew out and landed on the rock, and that was when my back started hurting, which, the surgery.
When was it?
Yeah, that's hella funny. Okay.
You might want to know that one.
People might want to know that.
Yeah.
So, grad night, we go to Disneyland. We took the bus. That was the longest bus ride to Disneyland. We're drunk, obnoxious Antioch high schoolers, class of 95. It was a hot mess. As an adult, you couldn't pay me $2 million to chaperone that bus. It was fucking annoying. But Disneyland was a blast. And then my friends and I met these guys that were from like the Cache Creek area, the literal creek, like up north, like Willow, whatever it is up there. And we all became friends. And actually, one of them, Noah, lives in Danville now. And he and his friends worked for the whitewater rafting.
Really?
So I drove up one summer to do it, and they thought it'd be super cool to fling me out of the boat, the raft. So I fly and land on my butt on this big rock. And I actually had to stay at his house for like a day and a half until I could drive because I couldn't really move my leg. And once again, Kaiser, not to be Kaiser bashing, but they've done nothing for my health or my family. So I'll just keep it real.
Yeah. If you haven't had the help from them, make it known.
Yeah. So it was like, hey, you're fine. We don't need the image. Just go for walks. Don't run. Da da da. And then I'm 19 and I'm in my own condo in San Leandro to still help my grandpa and grandma. And I would just literally do 8-minute arms, 8-minute abs, and just like run around the complex. And I had gotten really fit just doing that and eating Weight Watchers from 1976. The plan my mom did before she got pregnant with me. There was none of that points. Can I get McDonald's fries? No, it was real food. So that was my first introduction to real food, was the 1976 Weight Watchers plan.
I'm just curious, what do you remember about that 1976 plan? Because now, so most people probably never.
No, they never. So it's real food. Like you're eating meats and fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds. If you're gonna have bread, back then it was like sprouted whole grain. Like they had some ideas. Before the days of points and offering Ozempic to people, Weight Watchers did good stuff. My funniest memory about Weight Watchers is my brother and I would go to the Giants games all the time in a stick to sit in left field and scream at Barry Bonds. And everybody's like, Barry, we'll do it 25. Everyone's eating garlic fries, and I pull out my little Ziploc bag of carrots, celery, and peanut butter. Shut your mouth.
Hold it down.
And I was like,
a hard line.
And my friend Guy was with us at one time. He's like, did you want some fries? I'm like, no, this tastes just as good as that. He still makes fun of me. He's like, there's no way tastes as good as the garlic fries. And it's okay. I was enjoying being like fit and healthy, and I went to all the games and all the parties and did not fuck around to find out. I wanted to be healthy.
Okay.
So that's what I remember about Weight Watchers: the real food and bypassing garlic fries at the Giants game at Candlestick Park.
That's a big win.
That's a big thing.
Hey, anyone who's from the Bay knows that's a hard thing to do.
Oh my gosh.
Garlic fries and Giants game.
It's like,
that's a tradition. That's like it's a staple here.
It is.
So I'm still gonna get on the script, but as we're getting deeper, I'm on this material. Okay, so you obviously found something that worked that wasn't the old way of the throwing up, the skipping meals, starving yourself. Yeah. And you were still getting a good result. Yeah. How did we get off? How do we get off of that? So it's so sad how my grandpa could like make or change my life in one way or the other. So when I was 20, when I finished college, 18, 19, it took 5 years because I dropped a few semesters to help him when he was really sick. So I finished college at Cal State Hayward, because that's what it was called back then, Cal State East Bay. And then I got into grad school at UNR. So I was like 22, or maybe right before I turned 20. Yeah, 22, and I moved to Nevada for grad school. And my grandpa died like 5-6 weeks after that. It was during the Super Bowl. I moved in December. The Super Bowl was like the first weekend, I think, in February that year. And my best friend guy worked at Southwest, and he got me a flight to say goodbye to my grandpa. And I went home, and like he died right after that. And then it was just like depression, right? So then the foods, the memories of him, like you eat what you like. He'd make me the oatmeal with graham crackers and butter and raisins when I was a kid. So I'd have like 3 fucking bowls of it. Serious? That's the emotional eating, because I missed him. I'd watch the Golden Girls. That's why I still watch the Golden Girls, like my favorite show. Because it's memories of grandma and grandpa, right? So then the weight started coming on. I'm in a new state. I've missed California. It was different back then. It was worth missing back then. And so, and I'm like, I hadn't really found my people at the sheriff's department where I started my first job before teaching UNR in Nevada. And it was just that time of just like wrecked. Like, this is probably one of the first times I've talked about him and not cried. And it's been over 25 years, right? Because I was, about 48. Yeah. So it was really devastating. So that emotional eating, those habits that you can't erase, but you have to replace, like they crept back in. So that sank my battleship. And then that's when the rest of the health problems came back, right? PCOS, all these fertility issues. My 20s were not as exciting and carefree as they could have been. Yeah. And I just want to draw a point here, not to get off the topic, but I do find that very, very deep how you literally said it, how everything had went away when you were eating real food, when you were eating everything that you were basically supposed to. Yeah. And then once you got back off track, all of those old things that had finally left had came back. So it's almost a clear link that you could see all those things are definitely linked to food and diet. Yeah. I would love to say that, like, that's not the case for everybody, but if we're talking about health, not just how you look, because people can be skinny fat, we talk about this, right? Yeah. If you really want to be healthy, you have to play the game with nutrition. There's no Ozempic or metformin or appetite curbing suppression pill that's going to make you live a good life to 90, right? Like, you got to play the game. Like, eat the food or eat the shit food and suffer the consequences. And that was always the case. And so, and that's what I completely love. I'm not taking in anything from you, but I just want to vouch because I completely agree with what you're saying right now. Yeah. As someone else who noticed that exact same struggle, I always feel that instant change once I go from clean and then once I get back into some of those bad habits, whether it be fast food or whether it be anything from a box, I start breaking out. Yeah. I start feeling bloated. I even feel mentally lethargic to where I'm like, I'm just throwing. I'm like, usually I would wake up and go to the gym after like a cheat meal. I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. And it's almost like it just tanks everything. It's almost like poison. Yeah. Basically, when we're talking processed and refined sugar and carbs, those are killers. 100%. Yes. So let's get back on track. Now, this is going to get a little bit deeper. So navigating adulthood and fertility challenges. So you guys shared college was the time, or as you were getting out prior to the death of your grandfather, things were going good, and then we come back and the 20s. It says that you had some fertility challenge, and you got re-diagnosed, as you just said, with
PCOS. Yeah.
PCOS. So let's talk about that.
So PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And based upon how many of my patients have this now in their teens, it's like an epidemic like type 2 diabetes, which is funny because it's the insulin resistance, which is like diabetes 3, like metabolic syndrome X that leads to that. And yet we're still not fixing it. But I digress. So when I get into grad school, I have my master's in English. Don't ask me to do math. I'm working at the sheriff's department, running gang intel, knee deep in law enforcement. And I decide I want to be on with the FBI. I applied for that. I'm a top candidate in Nevada. But 9/11 changed everything. It was like counterterrorism, Middle Eastern languages. I went from like hero to zero, just like that. Never got on with it. So I was like, you know what? If I'm looking to be in law enforcement, I really do want to be a mom, right? At this point, I'm like late 20s because my mom was so sick. I did a lot of raising my younger brother. And so I never wanted kids until I wanted kids. And then it was a shit show because they can tell you that you have PCOS. And then they're like, I don't even know. And you're like, really? You don't know what to do about that? You don't know what to do about that. So again, I'm like overweight at that point, and I find a doctor, Dr. Berlich in Carson City, Nevada, who's wonderful. And he would work miracles to help these women get pregnant and carry their children to term. I had a very traumatic, horrible miscarriage, like bleeding out of my car driving from Dayton, Nevada to Carson Town Hospital in Carson City. And then you're just like, maybe God's like, you don't get to have kids. I didn't know. You think all these things because it's such an innate thing for many women, not all, but most of us or some of us have that feeling. And Dr. Berlich was smart, and he was like, okay, if you take metformin, which is a diabetic pill, it'll make you ovulate normally, and then you can get pregnant. And then once you're pregnant, we have to get you on insulin, or not insulin, excuse me, progesterone, because your hormones are such shit. Because no one could figure out how the thyroid problem and PC, everything was connected, but nobody dug deep. Everyone was like looking for the Band-Aid, like pump her full of diabetic medication and drop an egg. Like it was wild. So I had Ashley. We both almost died during an emergency C-section. And then the message was loud and clear. Thank you for this enormous blessing. I'm not the person that's popping out kids. Like at that point. So, and if you ever, you call it, God was like, you're welcome. And see, like have some cats and dogs, and I did with her. And it was fine. No regrets on that. It was such a scary time. But then I really tanked after having her because when you have a child, they literally suck the life out of you. Your vitamin D's in the tank, your whole endocrine system's off, your cortisol's up. It was so wild. And then I had to be on thyroid medication instead of fixing the problem, right? So that's me up until about 31, right? I had her at 30, 2 months later to the day, March 14th to May 14th. Don't forget my birthday. I'm just kidding. And then I turned 31. So that's how Ashley came to be. And that's how hard it was to become a mom with people not willing to fix my health problems.
Wow. And that's a common thing.
Yeah, it's right.
That you just said.
Infertility and miscarriages are like wild right now. It's crazy. So, yeah.
Something else that we'll probably touch on in another episode, since you have the personal knowledge and you've obviously helped other people who have been dealing with this exact same thing. So let's get to a little bit closer to home now.
Okay.
Let's just jump right in. Well, there's something else that we have to talk about. We have to talk about the back injury, coming to San Ramon, and CrossFit.
Yes.
So where we want to start with that. So I will let you pick where you want to start on that journey and lead us to how you ended up here at CrossFit San Ramon.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on from there.
Perfect. So the back injury that went unchecked, I'd herniated like 3 discs.
Just the river rafting?
Yeah. And then, so now I'm like 31 and I have I had an epidural, emergency C-section, all this shit. And Ashley is a toddler, and we had money back then, beautiful home, front loader, washing to front loading dryer, right? and I bent in half and I couldn't come up straight. I was stuck bent in half, and Ashley's dad's at work, and I'm like, I can't stand up. So I kind of like walked bent like crazy and like fell into the car and went down to Carson Tahoe for an MRI, which is really uncomfortable. I'm not claustrophobic, but don't make me do that again. Because I have a daughter and we were all Sleeping Beauty Disney, like I just kept singing the I Know You songs from Sleeping Beauty for 45 damn minutes in that boom, 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 like that tape. Yeah. Oh God, it was horrid. It was so bad that I believe it didn't even take a full, it wasn't even 24 hours. Like they got the imaging, it got red, and my doctor called me, my primary, and she's like, you need to go straight to an orthopedic surgeon. Here's a list of ones that we recommend. And I was like, what is happening? Yeah, what's the deal? So yeah. And I picked Dr. Jones because his claim to fame was he was the U.S. Olympic ski team surgeon, back surgeon. I guess they get hurt a lot skiing too. Me, not so athletic, but at raft. And I meet with him, and I'll never forget this, and it's still the joke always. He's like, oh my God, you have such an impressive bulge. My L5S1 is like just boom. The other discs had completely, they're just dried out, and there's not even a surgery for that back then. Disc replacement is not in the cards for me now. I don't need it because I'm fit and healthy now. But back then, he was like, we have to do a microdiscectomy because if it moves like a fraction of a millimeter out and hits the nerve bundles, you'll lose permanent bowel and bladder control at like 31 and a half. And I was like, I don't think I'm understanding. And my mom's like, typical Italian mom flipping out, come to California for a second opinion, get a second opinion. And so I did another opinion. I came down to the Bay Area. Dr. Hugh Ball, who's now half a block from my gym, was in Walnut Creek at the time. And I made him do all the imaging and everything. And he said, I'll do your surgery tomorrow. You have to get this done. They said the exact same thing. I ended up at Carson Tahoe Surgery Center with Dr. Jones only because if you've not lived in Nevada or tried to go over 80 and 50 in the winter, like you should probably do your surgery close to home so you can get home. So New Year's Eve 15 years ago was my back surgery. So when I started CrossFit at 5'2.5", because I even lost height because everything was just coming down. So from the time of being measured for the FBI to post surgery, I'm like a little over 5'2.5".
Oh, so
I'm like,
where'd you start out with, and then where'd you
a little under 5'4". And now I'm just a little over 5'2.5". So I'm like
2 inches in height.
Yeah, because everything is like, I mean, I put a picture of my MRI app because I put that up so that people can know that CrossFit really is for everybody. It saved my life. Like I'm walking and doing everything from it, right? But you can just see like the discs are just like the vertebrae are like this, and normal ones have that this matter. It's gone, just gone, and probably from just like the posture, everything's a fucking mess. So at the start of my divorce, because things just happened, fell to shit from the Obama crash in 2008, ended up losing my gorgeous home and everything, and that's how we got back to California. That's how I got back to California. Ashley was 2.5 when we came with what we could fit in U-Haul and rented a house off North Canyon. And then we moved to San Ramon when she was 4 for the schools, which, well, best laid plans. And then, and then I was like, damn, Lori, you're 5'2.5". You're 235 pounds. You have acid reflux. You're on medication for that because Prilosec wasn't always OTC, over the counter. It used to be a prescription. So I was on OG Prilosec before people just went into CVS and were like, thank you. Like that was a prescription. So I had acid reflux. I could not lose weight. If you cut it off me, it would probably grow back on like a lizard with its tail. Sleeping problems. And I was on Armour thyroid because I had hypothyroidism, a slow thyroid, right? It wasn't autoimmune yet. So I Googled CrossFit near me, and CrossFit San Ramon was like a mile walking from my house. And I came in and met this guy named Tim Hill. I know that guy. You know that guy? I heard people know him. He's on. And I was just like, my goals were to live for my daughter, to lose weight. And then he's like, well, what else? And I'm like, how about being size 8? Because I could never have imagined ever being like that, right? And today I'm a 6, so let's keep going, right? And I'm like, maybe I'll get on the leaderboard one day. Nailed that. So you can see Lori on that all over the OG leaderboard, 16 years. And then I just started, and that's how I got back here.
That's amazing.
That's crazy, right?
I want to kind of peel back something because so this is more for anyone who may be watching this and who's never done anything like CrossFit or is contemplating working out, but you have some injuries. What was it that, knowing that you had all that you just described going on, that said, let me Google a CrossFit gym? Like, where'd that even stem from for you to even think that this could be something that you want to try?
Just a friend that I had she was like overweight. She wasn't athletic like me. CrossFit's my first sport. I didn't have money to play sports in high school, even though I could do intramural stuff, right? So she was like, you should try CrossFit. I'm like, even with my back? And she's like, it'll probably help your back. And I'm like, okay. And then one of my sisters that lives in South Dakota, she and her husband tried it, and she was telling me about it. And I was like, I'll try it. But this CrossFit is different because we're about form and mechanics and technique. We're not go heavy, go home. We're like, oh, you got hurt at that other gym, we'll fix you. So it was always like that. So yeah, he understood it. If a coach didn't have an answer for what I should do for what was programmed with my back, Tim would help. So that's
how.
That's how. Yeah.
That's how you. So now now to kind of back on track here. So you get into CrossFit. I'm gonna kind of hit you randomly. How much weight did you lose, and how, like, talk about your transformation? Because you had
90 pounds in 6 months.
You made it up the leaderboard. Yeah. So let's talk about kind of that weight loss journey.
So I got down to 145
from
235.
From 235.
Just going paleo.
And
then I got off all of my medicine. I was on anything. Like I cannot express enough that the magic pill is food, if there has to be one. Like the only magic pill is what you make in your kitchen, really. Like honest to God. So, yeah, I went paleo. That was it. And that 6 months later, I'm like a different person.
So so this is only for the people watching, and this is what I'm curious about. When you say that you went 6 months paleo, are we talking 6 months straight, or are we talking random cheat meals? And
there was no cheat, really.
Kind of like, oh well, I worked out hard for 4 days. I deserve a snack or a treat.
No, we were dialed in, and like a night out would be a Chipotle salad. If you're gonna go out to eat, so just like vegetables, the fajita vegetables and some chicken or steak and guacamole, right? Good fat. Yeah, no, there was no like, hey, this pizza was great. It was not. I really wanted to focus on, now that I had the understanding of real nutrition through paleo and sugar and insulin, all that stuff. Like I wanted to go all in. So,
I love
that was it. I mean, when you feel good from the food, like why would you cheat and ruin? That's my mentality. It was just like, oh my God, I feel so effing good. Why am I gonna just go eat?
Mess it all up.
Yeah, I don't want to mess it up. I was really excited. I'm on fire.
We're gonna move a little bit further now. So you're down 90. You're killing it in CrossFit. This ends up becoming your second home.
Yeah.
How did you? What was it that made you want to become a coach and then start to take on that role?
It was actually a necessity. So when I asked Ashley's dad for a divorce, I was a 1099 employee for my job in Nevada.
Okay.
And then they cut all the 1099 employees. I didn't have access to my money, I didn't have anything. And I was like, I want to have a job that I can do to help people, give them what this place has given me, and still be a mom, right? So I took what little I had in my savings that, like, my grandpa left us some bonds or whatever, for all the grandkids. And I got my level 1 and my CrossFit kids. And Tim got his CrossFit kids with me. And then I became a coach at CrossFit Santa Ramon. So I'm like, I don't want to go back to teaching. I don't want to go back to law enforcement. I really want to help people. And that's how I became, and then part owner before we were married. I was a part owner of CrossFit Santa Ramon. Yeah.
Love that. So and that's what kind of gets us on this new kind of chapter.
It's a new chapter.
Obviously. Yeah. So for those who are obviously watching, we've covered basically the childhood, high school, college, giving birth, and then obviously finding CrossFit in this new chapter.
Yeah.
Now, we all know it wasn't all roses. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about COVID and the changes that took on you, and how we almost went to another level and had to get back up.
Yeah.
So
Even before that, I'll tell you
like
this.
part two. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy because people don't understand, like, there's no end game. Like, you've hit your goal and you're not like, yay, I'm size 4 and I'm going to go eat and drink and do whatever I want and stop working out. Like, your fitness and health journey is your life. It's a continuum. And Tim helped me realize that, because I think women especially have like a goal weight and size, and I got a wedding to go to. We're very like, I'm going to get there and then I'm done. And I couldn't do that. Thank God I didn't do that, because Tim and I went up north. Like, we were canoeing up towards Fort Bragg, Little River, little inlet. There's like little seals and otters and so cute. Water splashing up, canoe. It was like windy day. And I come back and I start getting sick. And Kaiser's like, "You're okay." And I'm like, "No, there's something wrong with me. I can't stop going to the bathroom. Like, there's something wrong with my stomach. I'm really sick." "No, you're okay. Just let it run out. It's a flu bug." Okay, it's been like 3 weeks and I'm probably just going to like die from malnutrition. I can't keep food in me. "No, you're okay. Could be a parasite." "No." "Did you go out of the country?" "No, I didn't go out of the country."
Kaiser strikes again.
Kaiser strikes again. H. pylori and Giardia, 7 months without doctors doing shit to help me. And then I fucking tanked and I had Hashimoto's thyroid disease. My whole system was gone. It took me $18,000 out of pocket with a functional medicine doctor because I was allergic to the antibiotics for the Giardia. So it took like 9 months. And you feel like shit when it's dying off. Like, I can remember my mom being really sick and laying there after her cancer surgery. Like, there were days where I only got up because I had a kid and I had to. Like, I was sick coming back from that. I'm actually surprised I didn't lose hair. A lot of people do. Probably because my hair Italian. Didn't lose my hair, but I was a mess. And then I gained so much weight because my thyroid and my liver just tanked. So then I knew how to come back from that, right?
So yes,
Yeah.
luckily you had the tools in the toolbox that you knew how
And
to
then
fix
COVID.
yourself. But really quick, just for those who don't know about Hashimoto's, let's just
It's autoimmune thyroid. So autoimmune diseases, chronic illness, chronic disease, cancer, all these things are driven by inflammation. But again, people being 99% of doctors and 100% of Kaiser just want like prescriptions, big pharma, big pharma, big pharma. So like, you can get a Synthroid, this and that, and all these things. And then they tried giving me vitamin B12 shots. Tell me it was great. Like, nothing was working because my system was just dead in the water. My liver was tanking because it was like a sponge submerged in a bucket, and I couldn't detox anything. It was a mess. Yeah. So Hashimoto's is straight up autoimmune hypothyroidism. Yeah.
Hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
All right. So you were about to say, and then COVID hit.
Then COVID hit. So then we're like 2019. More changes that happened earlier that year. We're coming back from it. Everything's going really well. And then like 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Longest 5 years disguises 2 weeks of my life. The gym could not afford to pay me to keep paying rent and stay open. So I delivered groceries for Amazon because Amazon bought Whole Foods. And my brother works for Amazon. He was in robotics and then Amazon Web Service for a while. He's like, get on this app, it's good money, and you get tips, because nobody was essential anymore, right? We were all non-essential.
Stop the world.
So I delivered groceries and did that. And then what really like made me not care about anything else but my daughter was my daughter, because she's an only child, and this whole bullshit of not being around anyone and no school, like she's sobbing, I'm sobbing, like she's alone in her room, won't turn on her screen. Her best friend moves back to Arizona. Like, my whole mission in life is just to be there for her, give her comfort, keep her alive. Like, these were the things going through my mom mind. So for the better part of 2 years, I didn't work out because I'd walk into the gym and I'd start sobbing because I knew we were going to lose it. Like, so it was devastating. It's all for naught. Like, now that we know everything and we look back, we're like, Gavin Newsom's gym never shut down, nor his restaurant. Like, Pelosi gets her hair done when she feels like it. The shit DA in Contra Costa County out working out in Venetia. Like, guys, it was
About his winery.
his no mask too. That's so crazy. I don't know. Maybe COVID just didn't affect rich people. Maybe that was my problem. I don't know.
Just in case this is our last episode, make sure you guys watch.
I'm not suicidal. I did not kill myself. If I'm dead at home. No, Gavin Newsom got bigger problems in LA right now. I'm okay. I'll be okay. But yeah, so it just, I just didn't care anymore. I just didn't care about myself anymore because as a parent, like that life that I made was the only life I cared about, and I had to see her through that because there were kids killing themselves in her school district, kids she knew from school, kids from elementary school, someone at the high school. Like it was rough. It was rough, and she was in middle school. That awkward time to talk about, right? So yeah.
So I was gonna say too, special shout out to any parents who are obviously having to raise their kids during that time, because obviously as a kid, I know that kids look to you for the answers, and you're in a spot where like, I can't make this make sense.
Yeah.
And you're trying to like put on a face, and there's no dates and times that you could tell them to keep them motivated.
Yeah.
So I could not imagine how tough it must have been for you going through that and what you were going through, not being able to get paid, and now having to explain how this world is going to be to a daughter when you're still trying to figure out yourself.
Yeah.
That is no joke.
It was a mess.
So
I've not had an easy life.
it has been a real battle.
God, I feel like I'll say this too. I used to get really really angry, and then like bitter, and then like why is this happening? And then like because everything I've been through has allowed me to help and save so many people. So God gives you these things like, hey God, I just need to be strong. Give me strength. So He gives you hard times to make you strong, right? So I'm really grateful for my faith, my Christianity, because that helped me understand why it felt like just one thing after another, but all roads led to here, right? So yeah.
So I was going to say that. So obviously, there's a lot of people who are on the internet or going around saying that they know about health and I know how to do these things, but I highly doubt any of them have walked in your shoes and have the actual, not only expert knowledge from the classes and things that you've done to learn, but from living through it.
Yeah.
And I think that is what separates you from almost anybody else, because it's completely different to look at someone who I've literally been where you're at, and I know the way out. Yeah. It's almost like you're basically.
There's always a way. Yeah.
So that's the big. So speaking of the way out, you made it out of COVID.
Made it out of COVID.
Not only that, you came out. I know you obviously personally. I've seen all the recent PRs, all the big lifts, all the major changes. I've seen amazing weight loss. So let's talk about the rebuilding phase. How'd you make it out? What did you find worked?
Yeah. So after like the parasites were out and I had Hashimoto's, I had to cure myself, because after 18 grand to get rid of parasites, you're kind of like, we're gonna have to figure the rest of this out, right? So
let me guess. I'm sorry, this is your third time having to cure yourself.
Yep. And I'll say this too, because the lesson that comes out of this should resonate with everyone that wants to make a change, who's unhappy where they're at. So I'll never forget, I go to my Kaiser doctor, and she's like, you're going to be on medicine for your thyroid for the rest of your life. And I'm like, challenge accepted. 9 months, autoimmune paleo eating. So paleo minus nightshades and nuts. Pretty strict. 9 months. The time it takes to grow a baby inside me, it took to cure myself of an incurable autoimmune disease. And I go back to the doctor, and she's looking at my blood work, and she's like, not saying much. She's like, what? I don't understand. Like, what did you do? And I was like, well, I cook all my food. I work out like every day. I meditate. And I don't like just go to restaurants and fast food. And she looks at me and she says, that sounds like a lot of work. And my response was, it's actually a lot of work to be sick and feel like shit all the time. So that's what I said. You want to talk about work? Wake up, have to drag yourself out of the house like you're your own ball and chain to go do something. So the hard work is eating and living and feeling like shit. And the easy work is getting yourself out of that and living. And that's my take on the whole thing. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's my take. So the next time your doctor looks at you like, it's a lot of work to do that, be like, yeah, get your story straight on that. So yeah, so then after COVID, you brought 75 Hard to the gym.
Oh, yep.
So Ty was the beginning of me starting to care about myself, because I was like, I need to challenge myself. Like my kid's back in school, she's doing okay, like 9th grade, started cheer out of nowhere, all these different things. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this for me. And I was like married to that app. Andy Frisella, best friend. Like I feel like I know him. Maybe he's coming to my birthday this year. I don't know. We'll have to hit him up. He's good.
Well, you're already getting Christmas cards from Glassman. So
I know Glassman, Emily Kaplan. That was like that Christmas card was everything. I was like, it was like the 5-year-old opening a gift on Christmas Day. I'm glad the mail runs late because it kept me going in January, right? So yeah, I stuck to that and I joined. Oh my god, I can't remember the name of it, but I used the Macros First app and just had a coach once a week with like balancing my macros. And I was getting better, but I wasn't losing weight fast because the insulin resistance was back from the weight gain. I run my own blood work. Like I just got a primary physician for the first time in like 5 years because it was an absolute waste of time and money. I order my own blood work. I order my patient's blood work. Anyone at the gym that needs blood work will order it. I saw that the insulin resistance, you're like, here we go again. But now I know how to get rid of it. And it's the 4-hour diet from Tim Ferriss, the slow carb. The slow carbohydrate is where then the weight really came off because the lentils and the beans, I know how to cook them to break down to where it doesn't like make you gassy and feel shitty.
You might have to take where.
We'll have that too. We'll do a little video on that. And honestly, the red lentil pasta imported from Italy, that's single ingredient, is like my favorite because now I can feel Italian again, but no wheat, right? So a little bit of slow carbohydrate, a ton of protein and veggies, a cheat day a week if you want it. I really don't even want it anymore. Fruit once in a while, maybe some berries here and there. And what was exciting to me is that you could drink up to 2 glasses of dry red wine a night if you needed. But I only drink wine or drink period maybe once or twice, 3 times a month. I haven't partied like that since I worked at the sheriff's department with my cop buddies. So we had a good time up there across the city sheriff's department. So then we went to Italy in June, this past June, and I ate everything. I'm not allergic to wheat and dairy unless I'm in America. Whole other podcast, like food, right? We'll get into that. Listen to what people like Bobby Kennedy Jr. are saying. The food is different here. It's sprayed and it's just a mess. So even though I enjoyed eating the food of my people over there, that's not how you eat. But we didn't gain weight. We did 2 CrossFit workouts because it's expensive to drop in euros, right? Because the dollar always sucks compared to a euro these days. Lots of walking, came back, felt good, no inflammation, no weight gain, and I just maintained my weight up until a week ago Wednesday. And I was like, I should just go like hardcore slow carb again and see what happens. And I'm down 6 scale pounds in a week.
6 pounds in 1 week, guys.
And that wasn't even the objective because I have that Shapa scale that shows you a color on the apps because I don't want to be married to a number. I don't want to be like, I have to be 135 again and be in a size 4 again. I don't really give a shit about that. I want to know where my body fat is with our Staiku 3D body scanner. This is why we tell you come get your goal setting and free scan. Like, know your body composition. Am I healthy? Am I on the healthy side, average, or am I an athletic or fit or whatever comes after that? These are the things that matter, right? But my Whoop shows me the number. So it's all like, and I was like, holy crap, and it was nice validation that, even with all the things like the insulin resistance that I had to kick out again, perimenopause, whole other podcast, you never know where each day is going to take you with bloat and inflammation, but fucking killed it this last week.
Hell yeah.
Got a PR today too.
PR.
I know, still getting gold forward. Like, yeah.
Going into 2025 with solid momentum.
Solid momentum. And the food is, again, the difference. I've just maintained kind of loosely following it, and then I'm right back on it, and it's like, boom. So, I mean, the proof's in the numbers. If you need to see it, I'll show you.
But that's the thing, too, is that, once again, you guys are hearing this from a coach who literally has gone through a real struggle with health. This isn't someone who was always fit, maybe was a superstar, got the presidential award in PE, and then went on to become a high school athlete, college stud, and then just stayed healthy. Not that there's anything wrong with those kind of guys, Tim. No. But that said, not everyone is like that. So it's always nice to know that there is someone who's still fit who was able to get there and have to go through some of those battles because you have a different outlook. Yeah. You have an understanding with your clients and your patients who you help because you've been there. And that's a big deal. And that's going to lead us into something else that's big for 2025. Big. We're going to talk about MetFix. So
excited.
I will let you talk about MetFix, but MetFix is going to be hit. Well, it's already out, but
Yeah.
you were picked out of thousands and thousands across the world.
The country.
Oh, the country.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're not worldwide yet.
Okay,
Yet.
okay. Still,
United States.
in the U.S., they only selected 100 people.
Mhm.
So you were in that first group of 100, the original group that's going to be rolling out this new methodology. Do you want to talk about this? You want to explain?
Yep. So the Broken Science Initiative has been out for a few years, and the first subgroup they built under that was the Medical Society, which I'm also a member of now too. Super excited. Then MetFix, I applied and was chosen. That was the second one. If you go to brokenscience.org, anyone can follow and get all this amazing information. I really, everyone should be paying attention to this. So Greg Glassman, who created CrossFit in 1974, ended up selling it in 2021. There was a lot of craziness and woke rhetoric and nonsense that was happening, and he left, but took his journals and his stuff that he had written and coined with him and made Broken Science with Emily Kaplan. She's the co-founder with him. So they're the ones running that. There are a few other people. Karen Thompson runs the Medical Society. Matt Souza over at CrossFit Livermore, Del King, I'm going to totally screw this up. He's in Ohio, great guy. And then a few other people are helping launch MetFix of all this too. So in next week, I'll know when I go to my seminar training. And what that is the first 100 are creating the seminar and the test and everything for when MetFix becomes how CrossFit did. It grows organically. You can get a level 1, you can be a MetFix affiliate. I am MetFix Method, be working on the website, should have that up soon. It is the best of CrossFit when CrossFit is about working out for health and good form mechanics like what we do here, but a huge emphasis on health. We are the evolution of the revolution. It is our mission to cure or control chronic disease and illness. Like we want to be the ones to heal you when medicine tells you you just need a Band-Aid for your symptom. So to be a part of that on a larger scale, what I've been doing here for like 5-6 years is mind-blowing. I'm excited, but every day I wake up like I'm humble. You know, I'm humble.
Yes, you're right.
I'm very. I'm like, oh God, thank you for this opportunity. Like, so all the different things like that are happening with MetFix. So you're going to hear a lot about it. We'll plug in the daily fix to CrossFit Standalone's website. Lots of information on that, and just watch us grow. And other countries are already asking when we're going there. And once my daughter graduates high school, it'll be about time they start expanding. I am happy to be a part of their seminar team and train around the world because I love stuff like that. So yeah, that's MetFix. We're gonna change the world in a really good way.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And first off, congratulations. I've already told you multiple times about the congratulations with that. But that said, I just want you to have a pretty good understanding that it means a lot that you were willing to tell your story to all of our members. And I just want to give you one more opportunity. Is there any message that you would like to share with them or tell them anything?
I would. And, don't live in the I can't. Like my back surgeon said, I couldn't lift more than a gallon of milk. I split jerk 180. Like, please don't live in the I can't. Come here and let us work with you, whatever it is. And, if you're out playing pickleball and you get hurt, that's one extremity that's out. And pickleball's big right now in this area. Just because something's injured, you broke a thumb or whatever, like the rest of your body needs to move. So keep moving. And it's not easy to eat. I'm not here saying like every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, Mary Poppins on the street, chicken right here and that right. It's a lot of, it's time and effort, but I'll be 90 and I'll be like going on hikes because that's how I'm eating. That's what I'm living for, right? So just you're not sacrificing anything to be your healthiest self. You're sacrificing enjoying life by being unhealthy. So change your mindset. Don't live in the I can'ts and make this your year to be the best year yet. Like that. I mean, I have so many things I'm going to manifest to happen this year. You're like, Lori, you've done a lot of stuff. That's really great. You're all done. No, there's like so much more to do. And just live in that mindset. And you're gonna ebb and tide. You can have a bad day. Watch an episode of the Golden Girls. It makes me feel better. And just, and we're here for you, whether you're here in our gym or you're working with us remotely from other parts of the state or the country, like reach out. Like I want everyone to get through their struggles so that they can enjoy life. Like I'm so blessed with my life. And even if I had to do the grunt work to get here, it was worth all the struggles. And even the stress of talking about it again. Like it's good. Like let people know that, it's not all sunshine and roses. It's not a unicorn with a rainbow coming out your butt like that sticker. It's not life right now. So don't give up. Just keep going. You can be healthy.
Absolutely.
Feel good. Yeah.
I completely love that. So, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this right now. We obviously thank you so much for sharing your story, overcoming PCOS, Hashimoto's, being overweight, struggling with food, and eating disorder at a young age. You obviously showed that despite the mountains that you had to climb, the place you reached was definitely worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that you were able to share the story with us. If you're not following us on Instagram, follow us at CrossFit SR925. Follow Coach Lori, Coach Lori 925. Follow Coach Ty, Coach 925, and Coach Tim at Coach Tim 925. We run the 925. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe at CrossFit San Ramon on YouTube. Thank you guys so much.
Have a great day. Take care.